Alright, so I see you've got the basic roof drawn, and we're trying to figure out how to do this little bay window at the back. So what I'm going to do is just move this out of the way for the moment, erase some of your items here. And we've got a 712. Now I'll just give you a kind of a heads up. If you make all of the other slopes on this also a 7 and 12, it'll make it a little easier because all the lines will just be 45-degree angles. And since we kind of get to pick how we want that to be, that's what I would do. So here's how I would do this roof. What I would do is just take this and extend it out like this, and then we're going to pretend that instead of a bay, that we actually have a just a regular dormer, excuse me, not dormer, hip roof that's coming off the back here, and that is the shape of it right there. And what we're going to do is just take our roof, and if this was, now we know this is a gable, and that's why this slope is, excuse me, this overhang is 12 inches, but this right here is a an overhang that is 18 inches. So we need to make these 18 inches. I know that sounds kind of weird because this is only 12, but just go with me here for a second. So we're going to take these and offset them 18 inches. 18, 18, and 18, and then just do a fillet. Fillet. And I'm wondering if you put this hatch in, but it's got to be erased anyway because it's not lining up with our joist and rafter pole. Alright, so we have this, this, and this, and then even though we're going to end up with a bay window, we're still going to just go ahead and draw this as if it was just a hip roof, and then we will modify that later. And since again we said that we were going to do all of them at 7 and 12 pitches, then we just come down here like this, and then erase these, copy this to down here. Alright, and then we've got this strange thing here, and this becomes one of these little zigzag roofs that we talk about every once in a while, where this roof will come and butt in somewhere down here. This will make a little bit more sense once the exterior elevation is drawn. But in the event that we were doing a regular shed roof, this is exactly what it would look like right here. Now, once you have that principle in place, then you know that this little spot here in the middle, its location is fixed, and these hips and valleys are also fixed. So if we want to turn this into a true bay window roof, then we take these and offset them 18 inches. I'm going to just draw a line 18. And then mirror this over here. And then we end up with this kind of a funky thing going on, and before you start trimming out too much stuff, we have to figure out where these are all going to merge. So we know that these are going to merge right here. We know that. Even though this doesn't line up. I get rid of all this extra stuff. And this is going to come right here, like this. Now this would be a funky roof if we left it just like that. So what we have to do, there's two ways that you can do a dormer, excuse me, a bay window roof. One is just to take this to all the way here. This is the most common way, and mirror that. This will be a 712, this will be a 712, but this will be something different. You could figure it out by figuring out your rise and run. This run here is 9'6". This run here is 10'8". So that means this will probably be something like a 6 and 12 pitch because it's less steep than this one, but that doesn't matter. And then these two combine here, and then these end up connecting. Like that. And you know that these two slopes should be the same, these angles, because this is a roof sloping down this way, like this, and this is a roof. Whoops, I forgot the arrow. And this is a roof sloping down the same way. So these two lines are doing the exact same thing. That's why you kind of know it worked, because even though I didn't copy the lines over, they end up being the same angle. Then you can just take what you've done over here and do this. The only difference being that we don't have the same little corner over here as we do on the other side. So let's see here. This would end up, connect this to this, and let me think about this just for a second. Okay, so I figured this out while I was thinking there. Alright, so the reason why this matches this is because this is sloping this way, and this is sloping the same direction. But this is going to be a little bit different, because there's an area here where it wraps around. This little piece of roof here is actually sloping down this way. Okay, that's the direction of this little roof here. So the way we figure that out is we just take this roof and we mirror it at a 45. You can see how it actually ends up lining up directly with this. Then this piece of roof here technically hits this here, which gets kind of weird. What we're going to have to do here is draw this from the side, because I'm afraid this roof is going to be too high and we'll never catch up to this roof. In other words, it'll never catch it, it'll never touch it. So we kind of need to go over to the side elevation. So if I take this roof and spin it this way, and now we've got, you can tell that this overhang lines up there, okay? And if we just draw the bay over here, alright, and we know that this fascia board here is going to be the same height as this fascia board here, because that was a part of the reason we left it at a 7 and 12, so that everything would line up. And then we know that this, when I draw this line, that of course is this slope here, which is actually representative of this face of the roof right here. And then it comes over here and here. And those should line up just like that. If it didn't, we would have been doing something wrong. And then this ends up hitting right here. Like that. And I think really this is what it's going to end up looking like. Oh yeah, sure. We have to actually bring this fascia board all the way out to here. That's what's going on. Like this. And then there's going to be a point, I think it's going to line up with this same angle. Like this. Yeah, there it is. There's our roof. Okay, so that is, oddly enough, exactly what the roof is going to look like. And we do not need this roof here at all. I should have probably pointed that out from the beginning. I made it way more complicated than it needed to be. So rotating it back to the way it was a minute ago, you can see that this little fascia over here just lines up with this fascia over here, and we have the bay sitting in it. And that should, the rest should be fairly simple. The rest should follow suit if you just use this then in creating your back bay window. You can see that this little weird notch here should end up lining up with these. They don't in this situation, but in reality they would. Let's just see. We got it lined up 5.5 inches. Yes. So we know that the center is going to be correct, right? There it is. That's right. But what we might have wrong is they don't show the straight fascia here. Just for kicks, let's just rotate the whole thing around so we can look at it straight on. Sometimes I just want to erase everything because it's faster. It should be 12 inches, and it is. Alright, so we know that the center point is right here. And we also know that if we were to measure the distance between the peak and the top fascia, it is 5 foot 6.5 inches. So we just go from this point here, top fascia, 5 foot 6.5, enter, and that is the top of our roof. Okay, when we do all this work, then we just come down here and we make lines to where our corners are on the fascia, like this and this, and then we pull that down. And trim all those off. These are corners in the fascia, and all we have to do is connect these two to this point. Okay, that was the easy one. Then these, you would sometimes think that they would go straight down, but they don't. If you look carefully, you can see there's a little jog. And where those jogs are, where did it go? Oh, wrong roof. This right here. We know that this face here, this face of the roof is represented by this line, and we know it's a 7 and 12 pitch. So we go 12, 7, close. And these are all going to change to 7 and 12. I could also do an example of a 6 and 12 roof. It just makes it a little bit more math, but it's the same concept. Okay, so there's that, and then we take from here and connect. There's like a little bit of a jog right there, and that's normal. This should match on the right side, and there it does. That's what it's going to look like from the back. So hopefully that's helpful. Call if you have any questions.